Good evening. Daryl, my Jewish mother, if she would have been here, she was very happy from your presentation. So remember, next time you meet my mother, say the same thing. She would be very proud. Israel is experiencing a turbulent time. One of the most sensitive times in our history of existence. Why do I and my team chose to come here to Toronto in these turbulent days? Why do you prefer to sit with me, listen about an idea 7,000 miles away, in the day that there's a Stanley Cup championship and you have a lot of things to do? Because we share something. It doesn't matter how distant we are. And this thing is the story that I want to share with you today. The global impact, the global engine of hope that we all share. Sheba is a big institution, the biggest in the Middle East. I don't have time to tell you the numbers if you can see them outside. We are a big institution. We are also a very good institution, ranked by Newsweek as one of the top 10 world best hospitals for 5 years in a row. We are a good institution. We are also very strong in human capital. We have 10,000 employees. 3,000 of them are physicians and researchers. You know what it takes to be a physician and researcher in Israel. And we have 3,000 people like this. And they are very strong. They are very clever. They have, all of them, the chutzpah to change the world. They aspire to be the best. You know Israelis. Some of them are here, and this is a good opportunity for me to present those Israelis. אני מבקש מכל מי שמשיבה, כל המתמחים הצעירים שלי, תקומו רגע. These are 5 or 6 for my young, forgive me for that, young physicians that represent the strong human capital that I'm talking about. So we are big, we are good, we are strong. Most of the institutions in the world, most of the healthcare institutions in the world would aspire to be big, good, and strong. And would aspire to provide the best medical care they can for their citizens. We do too. We aspire to give the best medical care for the Israelis. As you will hear today, one story. We aspire to be good, big, and strong. But we have another belief, another vision, which I think is unique for Israel, and I want you to be proud of that. And our aspiration is because we are big, good, and strong, we believe we have another role in the world. And our role is to create an impact. Our role is to create global hope. How can a small state like ours, of 9 million people, can create or even aspire to impact the world in terms of hope? Usually, it doesn't what the world thinks about Israel. But I'll share with you the Sheba story. We create global impact by 4 pillars. One is that we, as Israelis, have a startup nation mentality. We are a startup nation. And remember that we have those 3,000 physicians and researchers. We have the best infrastructure. We have the best diagnostics. We treat 1.9 million people a year at Sheba. We have data. We have patients. We know the market. So combine all that. We understand that we can create patents, companies, innovation that can impact the world. Just let them the platform to do that. And we created this platform. We call this platform Sheba Arc, which stands for accelerate. We have to move very fast. Israelis know how to move very, very fast. Redesign and collaborate. This Sheba Arc platform has begun to create companies. So far, we had about 100 companies. One of the companies, the CEO of this one company is joining us here. Ziv, tarim tayad. Ziv came to Canada. He's the CEO of a company that rose up from Sheba that deals with structuring data in hospitals. He began at Sheba, but now is implemented in Canada, in the United States. He's going to Australia, to Bahrain, wherever. We have 92 or almost 100 companies like this. Some of them will change the future of medicine because this is what we believe we can do. But we also believe that we can go global. And when you talk global, I'll talk about Canada. You, Einat, as mentioned, our Ottawa colleagues, please, Alan Forrester, please rise up for a moment. Alan Forrester is a VP in Ottawa General. He recognized 5 years ago, that he can build an arc with us. So we created the Arc Ottawa. And you know, Israelis, they talk a lot. We talk a lot. Sometimes they go to the press before we do things, but sometimes we go to the press after we do something. So look at what the Forbes has said in left about looking at the government of Ontario, that Sheba Medical Center with the Arc Ottawa could create a generation of economic growth. And the next slide, we created this global network in different places in the world. Last week, the governor of Victoria in Australia signed with us to create the Arc Victoria Innovation Platform. This is a Sheba global network, and people in the world accept us. The nice thing is that also Bahrain has decided to create the Arc Global. And with this innovation platform, we are aspiring to change the future of healthcare. Now, it goes also to science. And I want to share with you this spirit of innovation and science at Sheba. During the pandemic, Israel was the first country to vaccinate with the new vaccination, the mRNA vaccine. You remember that. Sheba was the first hospital to vaccinate. Then we understood we cannot think locally. We have to think globally. And we said, if we are the first to vaccinate, who is going to supply the world with real-world evidence, not drug company evidence, real-world evidence of the serology and the impact of the vaccinations? And we created a system, a cohort of 10,000 people that we surveillanced for their results with the vaccine. And we published that, and we shared that. And listen, if I would tell you what was the impact of that, you probably would say, you will be nice and smile. But if you listen to this guy, and leave politics aside, listen to this guy who was awarded, this is Anthony Fauci, I'm sure you know him. Everybody knows him, some like him, some don't, but everybody knows him. We awarded him last week award. Listen to how he describes the Sheba spirit, the global spirit.
We learned from the Israelis, predominantly from our colleagues at Sheba, things that were not available to us at the time. And we were able, and this is the truth, and I've said this to the American press, we were able to make policy decisions about how we would handle vaccinations, boosters, and things like that, based on the real-time data that we were getting from Israel, predominantly from Sheba. So all the things that you just heard in the introduction about Sheba was not blowing smoke. That was real. And that was really the kind of advantage we had. So the idea that now we have a memorandum of understanding, we have a dual purpose in creating preparedness, particularly with the Pandemic Preparedness Institute that's being established or that has been established. So even though I'm no longer the director of NIAID, I think that we've set essentially the foundation for a very, very durable and hopefully decades, if not longer, collaboration between the National Institutes of Health and the State of Israel through the Sheba Medical Center that we appreciate very much.
And what Sheba did during the pandemic was not just to save the lives of Israelis. Sheba saved the country. Now, Israel itself can act as the nidus for this, for the Middle East region. And because viruses, unlike politicians, recognize no international borders, Israel can save the world through the Sheba Pandemic Research Institute.
We want to award you the Sheba Award for Global Health. Dr. Fauci, this is for you.
Thank you.
If to you it sounds okay that Sheba or Israel can save the world, for us, it's not taken for granted. We believe we can have global impact in science and innovation. But we have also another aspect, another pillar of our impact. In our region, healthcare is the only non-political aspect of life. Land is political. Agriculture is political. Sports is political. Even art is political. Only healthcare is not political. In Sheba, we believe we are a hospital of peace. In the Middle East, healthcare is an engine to create impact. So we treat everybody. We decided, the state of Israel, decided that we'll accept Palestinians from the West Bank, from Gaza, people from our neighbors, people from countries that we don't have diplomatic relations, people from Syria, enemy state. We treated thousands of people from Syria that fled to Israel, to our hospitals. Which country in the world does things like that? And we see it as a privilege. And this is not the CEO speaking. This is the spirit of the people of Sheba. Now you can see some photos that the way we work with our Palestinian neighbors. But one picture, the picture that you see second to the left, is from conflict that you see there a Palestinian child with a Jewish child in the shelters during a war. Just to remind us that we don't care. If it's war times, peace times, we extend the hand to our neighbors. We have a role to create peace. And believe me, from my experience in missions in the world, whenever you save a child's life, his parents cannot hate you anymore. They cannot anti-Semitically hate you anymore. They can have political argument with you. They can disagree with you. But they cannot anti-Semitically hate you. And we believe that every child, every patient, every family is another seed for peace. This is another pillar of our global impact. And there's another pillar. Until 3 years ago, Israel was isolated in the Middle East. But since the Abraham Accord, our peace treaties with the Emirates, Bahrainis, Moroccans, we became a factor in the Middle East. We became a vector of force in the Middle East. And I'll say it again. What is easier to collaborate than healthcare? So we moved very fast. And you can see how fast we worked in the Emirates, in Bahrain, signing contracts. And there's another, if you come to Sheba, the highest token of our impact in the region is that patients from Emirates and Bahrain are being treated at Sheba, from Morocco are being treated at Sheba. Imagine that we have residents from those countries working with us in the same operating room. This is the way to create regional impact, true connections. And we have the last pillar of global impact. We believe that we have to extend the hand in humanitarian outreach all over the world. We believe in Tikkun Olam. Because we can, and because we are a nation that believes that no one can stand idly by when there's a crisis or disaster in the world, even if it's an enemy state. We offer our humanitarian help in Sheba. We can do that to any country in the world. Not all the countries in the world are willing to accept us, but we are offering it. And you can see the global map of where we worked. And then Yoel can show you the missions that we were in. Some of them, you know, you can keep on going. Mozambique, Tanzania, Nigeria, and again. And the last mission that we've led was the mission to Ukraine. We were the only Israel. I'm not sure you know that. Israel was the only state-level hospital. It was Sheba Hospital, working under the flag of Israel, that worked in the war zones in Lviv. Why? Why a civilian hospital should send his people, and these are the people that you've seen, our teams, to assist in Ukraine in war zones. And you can imagine that for some of them to return to Ukraine, like myself, when my father, you shared some of the stories that our fathers and grandfathers ran away from Poland to Ukraine in World War II. So for some of them to return to Ukraine was another challenge. But we did it because we believe that this is the role of Israel, to change killing to healing, to act especially in these places with the force of healthcare. And you can see that we gave these people in Lviv, for a certain period of time, we gave them hope. We didn't change the situation in Ukraine, but we gave them hope. And how do I know that? Because now we get patients from Ukraine and soldiers of rehabilitation. And we took some physicians to train at Sheba, and we're building capacity there. And I just want to mention the guy with the glasses in the picture. His name is Yoel Areven, and he was the commander of this hospital, field hospital, staying in Ukraine for weeks. And he's with us tonight, but he's upstairs in the commanding room. Yoel, I just acknowledge you. Yes, he's big enough. You can see him. Thank you. The last slide. This is the good news. This is the last slide. We are very dedicated. We have a decision, strategic decision to impact the world, to generate hope. But we cannot do it without you. Without the people in the world that believe in the state of Israel, in the idea of what we are calling Tikkun Olam, of our role between the nations. This is the reason I came here, to share that with you, to thank you, to say that you are a crucial partner in what we are aspiring to achieve. I want to thank our partners, the Azrieli family. Nomi and the Azrieli family, you are the biggest donors of Sheba, the biggest partners that believe in Israel for many years. I want to thank the Steinbergs and the Alfasi family for believing in us. I want to thank the Kushitsky family for believing in us. And I want to thank you all for being with us every day, every crisis, every time. I want to thank the steering committee. I want to thank the board in Canada. I want to thank Einat. Einat, please stand up. You said that you felt that this is an Oscar. According to the dress, this is an Oscar. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, before the pandemic, we were beginning to work here. Thanks to you, this can happen. So I appreciate your commitment and what you do for Sheba. Thank you very much. And let me end by this. 2 years ago, my first grandchild was born. Her name is Shai, a gift in Hebrew. But in the last 2 years, the world became a little bit crazy. The pandemic rose, showed us how fragile we are, how turbulent the world can be. Economic crisis, war in Europe. In the same 2 years that my grandchild was born. So, and just to mention that we are in a turbulent days in our state, in our nation, in the same 2 years that Shai is here. And if it was true, our mission to create global engine of hope, if it was our mission before that, for sure, it has to be our mission for the future. Thank you very much.